gender roles have always been incorporated into society, the perception of women specifically depends on the cultural society and beliefs, such as Eastern versus Western. Although some argue that the gender role barriers have been broken, while others think that inequality, for example, is becoming more apparent. And from my perspective, I believe that the society's perspective may change over time, where the society can perceive different aspects differently compared to contemporary period of time. Although this aspect can also turn around, where society's perspective changed before and the aspect was controversial, and in the present it's not. I believe that the knower must decide whether or not to accept or reject the perception and assumption that follow women roles in society. Thank you.
Well done, Rica. Questions?
What's the significance of AI to you?
Well, to me personally, how I was brought up, when I was little, I was put into a Muslim school, and it was restricted, and we weren't allowed to wear certain different things. It was really religious, based on the perception how you dress, and boys and girls are separated. Though as I started moving from Indonesia to Laos, I don't know, I guess different places, and from what I believe, culture can be influenced over time. It can evolve over time, and it causes me to perceive gender roles, like especially women's roles, differently. And personally, I created the Girl Effect. It helps with women because I believe that women has the rights in society as well as women. They are equal and they're not different from or males.
Follow-up question?
Yes.
So what's the significance to society in general for this issue?
The issue of women.
Yeah, the gender roles. How is that important?
How is it important? Well, it's important because in society, I think most people perceive women how do I say it? They perceive women as not, that they can't be superior, maybe based on their emotions. Maybe they're more emotional than men, and that maybe they use emotion more to reason something, and therefore they think that if, for example, I don't know, women in America wanted to be the government, people would think, oh no, she's gonna make decisions that is based on her emotion, but not really what's good for the society. It's only good for her, but I think that
Other questions?
Can you go back to Ikea? Sorry. You talk about belief. Can you explain what role reason plays in the in the influence on how you look at the Afghan women and the Japanese women and the women in America? Like, could you talk about belief?
Well, the thing is, if we see Afghan women, for example, men, I use men as one of the perspectives, right? So when I look at the men's perspective, they uses religion, which is a belief, which is what they believe in strongly, and they use that to take that action. But then their reason to why they take that action is because that God said this and God said that, and it is said in the Quran that this is how we're supposed to be. Men are supposed to be this way, and women are supposed So I think that's how reason plays a role in people's beliefs and how they perceive women or gender roles. Does that answer your question? Jackie?
Okay. You talk about the Quran in Afghanistan, right?
Yeah.
Because it's Muslim stuff.
Yeah.
How do you think the language? Quran is initially Arabic, right? Why do you think the perception? What is the reason why people perceive women differently, even though they're Muslim in Afghanistan versus in American culture or other culture? Because I don't think they beat women up like that in Muslims in America.
Well, I think it's also because based on their culture and where they are in. I think that if Afghan women who are living or migrating to America, they wouldn't face that. Instead, they wouldn't be facing violence because, I don't know, and I guess women who are within that country, like Afghanistan, they fear men because they're in the country, and the men there, they could do anything because they're within the country. But if they were to do that to another country by law, if it was in America, in law, you're not allowed to use that act to women.
Questions? Last question? Last question for Rica? Is Jackie going to take the last one, or has somebody else got one? Jackie. Oh, Jackie?
Jackie can go. It's okay. Come on back.
Two last questions and then we... Jackie? Sorry, Rica. Jackie? And then Oda. And then we move on.
Since America, follow-up question, maybe because since America, it's an English country, do you think the translation of the Quran plays a role on people's perception of how they interpret the Quran to women?
Yes, right. I don't know if, because, okay, personally, I don't read the Quran anymore because I can't, I don't know how, and no one taught me, and so I'm not sure whether the translation of Arabic into English is as precise as in Arabic, but from what I know is, I think it is kind of, to an extent, it is.
It's okay, I mean, so